DDG, episode 249. My name is Dave, and I'm joined by Michael.
Dave, we are recording on a Thursday. It's a little weird for me because Thursday is pretty much the end of my work week because I don't have to report to an office tomorrow. So my social meter, I realized, is hard this week. Every time I interact with someone, like a human being, face to face, I'm just like, I don't get that serotonin boost that some of the like office lifers get. Like when they're in the office, you can tell every time they interact with someone, like a little like heroin jab happens in their brain and like they're really excited to talk to another human being. I realize I am not that person every day when I'm in the office, and Thursday is a time where my brain starts to shut down and I start talking random shit. So this is a perfect day for me to record and talk about Marathon.
It's my fault. Softball season has started, and then I was just old and tired last night. I couldn't do it, and I was just like, I felt bad. To be fair, I think I messaged you with a decent amount of lead,
20 minutes,
decent amount of lead
20
time,
minutes, including my 5-10 minutes being late usually.
Yeah, so, and I'm like, has he not looked at his phone? I was like, please look.
I was rush eating my dinner because I had got home late that day, and I'm just like, I gotta finish my food so I go record, and I get down, crack open the Dr. Pepper that I bought for the episode, took a sip from it, opened Discord, and was just like, this man owes me 2 sodas now. And then
That's fine. What's your Venmo? I'll take care of it right now.
No, it's fine. It's cool. Hey, you know what? We got a news story to talk because of it.
Yeah. So, by the way, just real quick, just because I want to mess with him, Curry's in the chat, and I've met him in person. Curry Master. Your Maple Leafs are going to choke again, and they're terrible in elimination games, in games that they can potentially. I think I saw the stat the other day. They're like 1 in 20 in games where they can they can end a series, like something ridiculous.
Why are you going to do that?
And
He's
then,
so excited.
Yeah, I know. Not to go on a sports tangent either, but did you see? And I know you watch more basketball than I do. But are you, with the Bulls being done? Are you still like following the playoffs?
No, yeah,
or are
I'm
you paying attention?
The playoffs.
Did you see what happened with the Pacers and the Bucks?
Yeah, with
last night
the dad
or 2 nights ago. Not even that one. The loss.
Oh yeah. I saw a little bit of that, but mostly what I ended up seeing because I don't care about Indiana or Milwaukee, so it's one of those things where I watch like the highlights after. But yeah, was it a comeback? It was OT, and then the dad.
No, it was more than it was. They had a 7-point lead with 40 seconds to go.
Yeah.
And the team's records, like I love stats. You guys know this about me, analytical numbers, and whether they're right, wrong, or indifferent. I love my numbers. I think ESPN showed something like teams that are losing by 7 points or more with 40 seconds left in the game were 0 and like 1,600.
Yeah, I saw that stat.
And now they're 1 in 1,600 or something like that. Something absurd. I was just like, oh my goodness.
Yep. And then I watched, basically when we couldn't record yesterday, I'm like, well, shit, the Laker game is on, and I got to see the Lakers lose, which is always entertaining.
And Ant Edwards is playing out of his mind.
Oh, he's so good. He talks so much shit. I love it. Like we have not seen.
He walked around L.A.
Yeah.
Did you see that? After the like shaking people's hands and stuff like that, like downtown L.A. I'm like, I've been on that.
And then just doing the Shannon Sharp mocking of just the he did like Ant-Man, Batman, Superman, T-Wolves and Fives. You gotta love that type of shit. It's so great. It feels like the NBA is actually making a comeback after kind of some years of like it kind of waning a little bit. Like there's a little more excitement because it's not just 1 or 2 teams that are good anymore. It's like you have some of the smaller markets actually being competitive now. It's kind of great.
Yeah, the fact that Anthony Edwards is in Minnesota and could potentially stay in Minnesota is huge.
Yeah, and then you have Indiana like kind of coming up there. Boston set themselves up as a dynasty. The Lakers are entertaining. They don't need to be good, but they're entertaining. And then you also have a lot of people going away soon.
Yep.
It's great.
All right, that's your Sports Minute, brought to you by Digital Days Gaming, which we are a weekly podcast that posts typically on Thursday morning, 6 a.m. Eastern Time, but this one will be Friday morning. Again, my fault. But you can watch us live, twitch.tv/Digital Days Gaming, youtube.com/Digital Days Gaming. You can subscribe to the audio feed on YouTube. You can watch the on-demand feed on YouTube. You can watch it on demand on Twitch, but they're doing something funky with their VODs, and I keep getting emails about it, and I just don't care.
They're killing the archive because their servers got too much. So, but we weren't really archiving things on Twitch. We let it lapse. So basically, they're just going into anything you had protected and then killing it.
Yeah. So
YouTube, everyone, YouTube.
Yeah, that's just the biggest thing that I've determined since we started using like Restream or multi-stream is that like Twitch is necessary, but YouTube's just a better foundational system.
It is for now, until an executive pops in and is like, let's break things.
Yeah. So other than that, you can check out digitaldaysgaming.com. You can check out our Discord and social media. All of that is linked in the show notes, and you can join the community and hang out with us and have some fun. And we're going to kick it off with some news.
Yeah, this isn't fun. This is a new story that broke this morning. So, hey, Dave, thank you for delaying the podcast. We got this big news story.
Hang on, what's the first bullet point on here?
I forgot
news?
that.
So.
Well, you know what? We'll just put that in played and watching, because that's a whole different discussion there.
That's fine. All right, cool.
Yeah,
cool.
First news story is Microsoft is raising pretty much all their prices, and this time it is in the U.S. as well as across Europe and other countries. Here we go. Okay, so the Xbox Series S is going from $299 to $379. The Xbox Series S 1 terabyte is going from $349 to $429. The Xbox Series X Digital is going from $449 to $549. The Xbox Series X is going from $499 to $599. So it is now a $600 console for a system that is about 5 years old. Fucking bananas. And then Xbox games will cost $80 starting later this year. So Xbox first-party games are going to be dropping at $80. They said
they're doing something with the controllers and headsets and everything.
Controllers and headsets are going.
Here, all went up like $10 or $15.
Yep. So increase, and Xbox was holding out because most of their controllers were still $59.99. Like they were still at a decent price, but they are going up to like $70 now. So we're seeing huge increases across everything. This is a combination of tariffs. The different combination of the world market is just unstable right now, partially because of like tariffs, and then just in general like inflation stuff. So this is like a ton of things that are just the perfect storm, and then you mix in a little bit of corporate greed, just a little bit, because that now's the time to raise prices, and then you can point to things that may or may not be affecting you, and then say we have to do this. The biggest one I think is the games going to $80, because everyone was just waiting for someone to fucking jump, and Nintendo jumped. So now here we are.
Nintendo kind of jumped. Like Mario Kart is 80, but Donkey Kong's going to be 70. Like
Zelda's going to be 80, but then the other Zelda's going to be 70, and like they jumped. They said, "Fuck it, we're here."
Yeah. So, but yeah. So like yes, Nintendo jumped, and this is what Nintendo does. Nintendo either puts the flag in the ground and marks their territory, or they wait until the territory has been completely decimated and ran over and built and rebuilt, and says, "Oh, okay, we'll join that neighborhood now," where everybody's whatever, of course you are. So like that's who Nintendo is. Either they make motion control, they make a special disc, a different disc, or like for the GameCube or whatever, it had the edges or something on it, or the Wii or whatever it was, or they fall in line later. So Exhibit A is okay. They jump to $80 for games. Exhibit B is, they are charging for voice chat.
Yeah.
After charging for whatever for their C button, which is their version of charging for online, which has been done by their two competitors for the last 5-6 years. So it's like everybody's like, oh, it's going to cost money. Like that's dumb, but that seems in line with what everybody else is doing. So okay, oh, it's going to be $80. What the hell are you doing? Like there's no middle ground with Nintendo when they do this. And now to your point, Microsoft's like, okay. But again, this is the same thing I saw today on social media. Like GTA is going to be $100.
Yeah.
Like it's going to be $100. Like this, like you can lock this in right now. Like the base version of GTA 6 is going to be $100.
Yeah. And I feel like publishers right now are now hoping it is $100, because then it's like, cool, our $80 isn't going to look that bad. Because then people are going to get comfortable spending $100 on Grand Theft Auto, and then they're going to be like, oh, at least, this first-party Microsoft game is $80. We'll talk a little bit about
the community's not going to like my response to the 80. You know what? I don't care about $80 games on Xbox. Do you know why?
Yeah, no, yeah, and we'll talk about that a little bit because we do have game sales stuff to talk about later, which I think ties in kind of nicely with this. But like Microsoft is just like, fuck it, you know. It's probably more expensive for us to even print games now because we're not printing them in large quantities like we were before. So fuck it, for the people that want it, now it's even more of a luxury item. Like it's even more of a niche market. So now we're gonna charge that price and make it a boutique thing of like, hey, you want to be a physical media collector? Here is your punishment for making us print these discs.
And I know it's hard, and you might know this answer better than I would because I don't really. I try to sometimes watch or read this stuff, and then my eyes roll in the back of my head. The Xbox Series X, now being $600. What is it on par with a Pro, PS5 Pro, like in terms of like power and teraflops and what it does? And I know that's really hard to more. The Pro's going to cost more, or it's going to give you a better graphics and fidelity and all that crap.
Give you better graphics and fidelity, the Pro. But the Pro is,
but it costs more, right?
It is more expensive, and it probably is going to be even more expensive probably within the next couple weeks.
Don't say that because I literally was having that conversation with my wife today.
I feel like I need to have the conversation with mine about this. Like I need to. Well, I kind of want one
because she's like, well, what is it gonna do? And I'm like, well, it makes the games look prettier. And but I kind of told her, I said. So here's my thought process and here's my fear, and I guess tell me if I'm wrong. This would be the same thing for a Series X. So this is where I'm bouncing stuff around in my head. I barely have turned my PS5 on in the last 6-7 weeks. Okay, I'm sure I've done it for little things here or there, but there's bigger issues with what I want to set up with my entertainment center, etc., and all that stuff. But my huge fear is like I'm going to turn this thing on in July and I'm going to hear the. Poof, like something's going to go, I have a launch day PS5. And then when I want to go buy a Pro, it's going to be $800. Or do I buy the Pro right now? And just, because I essentially, I need to decide for myself if I'm going to buy a Pro and a better TV right now. And what I mean by right now is like before Memorial Day. Because,
and
pricing.
And what I would say to you is, the Pro isn't going to get you pumped and excited to play more games because right now there just isn't anything for you in that market. But I would say...
But I'll be pissed at myself if it breaks in October and I got to pay like $800.
I feel like that would be the ultimate push you need to be like, guess what? I'm a PC gamer now. Because you've been kind of in that PC market for a while. And honestly, first-party PlayStation games... But I still want to
play Interstellar.
When it comes out in like 2 or 3 years.
I guess I can wait. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I have my ADHD will let me wait, even though I'll be like, oh, I want to buy it, I want to buy it.
It's going to be like your VR headsets where you like, I bought it, cool, put it on the shelf.
Yeah.
But I will say...
It's the same thing. It's the same thing happening with sneakers now. Like, there's sneakers that I'm going after on sneaker apps and raffles and stuff like that I'm like, I get them and I'm like, oh, okay, this is cool, and I barely wear them. But then I get disappointed when I don't get something. And I'm like...
I'm the same way with my video game collecting. I just got the orange box on PS3. I'm like, cool, I always wanted this. It's in the kitchen, maybe. I don't know where I put it. It's somewhere. I would say, though, what you would love is a real OLED TV. Because of sports. Because of gaming.
I know.
And, I would say if you're going to be making a big purchase... Angela, I don't know, Angela, how you feel about this?
No, she knows. Yeah. We're talking about messing with our bedroom, and if we're gonna mess with our bedroom and redo our bedroom, we're gonna bring the TV in the living room into the bedroom and get a better TV.
Yeah. And then I would say get the LG OLED, get the mid-range one like I got, and your mind will just be like, holy shit, why didn't I do this sooner? And that's how I feel. Like the OLED, I feel like gave me more life out of my PS5 regular. Because I'm like, the games look so much better. This feels like I upgraded my console, and there just hasn't been a reason to get a Pro yet, Right. So that's where I would be for that. But when it come back to that FOMO, sort of mentality.
Yeah.
That's how.
Well, it's not even a FOMO. It's just an irritation of I didn't get it when
but it is a fear. It is a fear of missing out. So it's not FOMO in the traditional sense of just oh no, other people are having fun. It's just
FOVO, fear of missing value.
Yeah. Of just oh shit, the PS5 Pros did go up $100. Why didn't I buy it a year ago?
And this is the inherent problem that I have with my retail background and looking at all this stuff now. And the answer to this too. let's say in 6 months, like some, I don't even know, World Trade Organization decides to be formed, and they make some, like I mean, I'm sitting here with like pie in the sky thing, like, oh, we're gonna have a trade treaty for everybody, blah 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 blah, like kumbaya. These prices aren't going back down.
No, and that's the thing. Last time we talked about like the tariffs and all that stuff. Is there's a mentality with the side that's pushing tariffs that they're only temporary price increases, and then once everything's settled, prices will be lowered. And it's like, no, the companies
you don't go backwards.
Yeah. You will never see a company be like, man, that was a really rough year, and you guys have been buying this merchandise at like this markup.
Yeah. Switch 2 will never cost under $450. Yeah. Xbox Series X now will never cost under $600.
Yeah, like
never.
Unless they do a mid console.
Unless the new Xbox comes out. Yeah.
But like we're not going to hit the point where corporations are going to be nice to us after this time. We did see some rollbacks from like Target and Costco here and there, but that was mostly because they had so much extra inventory.
Yeah, but companies do that all the time. That's that's the common misperception of like, oh, are you changing, like customers at my store? Like, okay, most people know who I work for, and you know that my stuff is imported. Okay, so this is directly impacting my day-to-day life. That's all I'm going to say. Customers are asking me all the time, are you raising prices? I'm like, oh, we change prices all the time.
Yeah,
we do. We change prices every week, every single week. Now, what does change prices mean?
Yeah,
like but down, sideways. Sure.
It's unlikely unless it's a temporary sale that you're going to drop something back to what it was 5 years ago, But
we don't do this. We don't like send out a blog post announcing our price increases.
Yeah.
Like, so like, and I'm not saying that Microsoft is or isn't right, but what would happen if in 2 weeks, like Wario walks into a Walmart and all of a sudden the Xbox is $600 versus $500? Then like what would happen? I don't understand. Like, is it Walmart that raised the price? Is it Xbox that raised the price? Like that, there'd be so many questions versus them coming out and saying this right now. Like,
I feel like this would be a perfect day for Microsoft to increase the prices and then stealthily just increase their marketing budget for the week of just being like play anywhere campaigns for their Xbox, because that's ultimately what they care about. But like, we're here now in terms of these are what these consoles cost. The fact that these consoles are fucking 5 years old and seeing price increases is just wild to me and makes me worried about what the next generation's going to look like.
Yeah.
Because we're moving faster than inflation because of everything.
Because tariffs are not.
Yeah.
Remove in 2 years, if we, because I saw something that on the cycle, like we're due for a new PlayStation in holiday 27.
Yeah. About 7, 8 years.
Yeah. Right, which would mean that we would start hearing, Summer Game Fest 26 about the new console. Yeah. So, but now if I don't remember off the top of my, like, is a Pro is what, 650?
650, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah. So if a PS5 Pro is 650 at the end of 2025, how much is a PS6 going to be, Michael?
In theory, it would. So here's the thing: is
800.
Well, no, and that's the thing is like, we're used to getting console price drops around this time, and we're not getting that.
Yes, we're used to getting console price drops around this time, but we're also used to consoles kind of were what we call in the retail world a loss leader.
Yeah, they were a loss leader, but we would see like.
So what I mean by a loss leader is, maybe for people that don't understand, is that they want you to buy the hardware to then supplement. They want you invested for like the next 7 or 8 years. They're willing to take a little bit of a loss, 10%, 15% loss on something to hopefully pick up that 10 or 15% through hardware and software. If you being in the ecosystem, we've moved away from that, especially like post COVID. We've dramatically moved away from that to where that for a long time prior to COVID, the only company that really made money on their initial hardware sale was Nintendo. Yeah. Because they were behind.
Yeah, and
with tech,
PlayStation and Xbox would start making money on their consoles usually around this part of the life cycle, because we would be on our first or second slim model redesign, and now we're kind of with the last PlayStation 5 redesign, we got a price increase. So we're
increase, not a decrease. So an increase.
Yeah, and that's where we're at now. And
We got to redesign and an increase, and we got a more powerful system and even more of an increase.
Yeah, and usually what we'll see is whatever the previous console launched for, we would see like maybe a $50 to $100 bump when the next console comes out. But now those consoles have already made that bump. So then in theory, we're going to do another bump when the next gen comes out. And we will probably see $699 for a base model and $799 for like the, drive.
Bigger storage or something.
More storage, disk drive model. And that's where we're at. And games being $80, like games being $80, it does put it at a point. I mean, $70 also did that as well, where I'm actually looking at the game and I'm waiting now more for reviews and
more reviews. Watch a couple live streams, see what some of your buddies are saying about it. There's going to be we all have the list. Okay, like Naughty Dog, sure. Yeah. Okay, take my money here. Like pre-order now. Like let's go.
But I'm not taking them chances anymore.
Right, Insomniac. Yes, please. Wolverine, Spider-Man 3, whatever. Yep. Another God of War, Santa Monica. 100%.
But like Returnal or something. I'm like,
right. At this point, I would almost argue that like it won't be $80, but Hazelight, is that the
Split Fiction people?
Split Fiction? Yeah. It Takes Two. Is it Hazelight? Yeah. They I would probably their game's gonna be $60 now. Okay. Like these companies are starting to get to a pedigree level of yep. Okay, there's
but
but
like when we get to the other games, like the 2Ks, the Maddens, some of those stuff, I would wonder if the $80 will affect some of those decisions because those are franchises. Like college football will be fine because people are still like in love with that. But when you get to like the Maddens and the 2Ks, they might see a dip because those are franchises that people are kind of like disenfranchised with, that they're not happy with, and that's going to be suspicious for them.
I think they'll still do it for COD. Like COD will be fine.
Yeah.
But then like the next Battlefield.
Borderlands.
Yep, Borderlands. Yeah, I'm right there with you. The struggles that Battlefield has had lately. Like you'd be like, really?
Yeah, it's like let me wait for the reviews and then let me wait 2 to 3 weeks to see what happens when people are playing.
But I think like Assassin's Creed could do it, but maybe Far Cry would have a problem.
Yeah. But then again, if Assassin's Creed goes into the annual phase again, then you might question year 2 or year 3 of like, do I really need another $80 Assassin's Creed?
You price yourself out of the value market, and people are starting to think a little bit more about what their dollars do, and this is what's happening. Like, and this is the weird spot. But these won't go down.
Yeah, but
like
this could be an opportunity for those AA games to come back because like Expedition,
that's $60 and $70.
Yeah, Expedition is a $50 game right now. With these price increases, it would probably be a $60 game, but you could see more value in that game now when you're looking at some of these.
Like for me,
games.
like I'm not paying $80 or $100 for Darksiders 4. I'll pay $50 or $60 for Darksiders 4.
And then if you just look at Microsoft's slate of games,
well, I'm probably lying with that. I want a Darksiders 4 really bad, so I'll probably spend that money. But I'm just using them as an example of like your mid-level AA or 2.5A developer.
Yeah, but then if you look at like Microsoft, who are going to move into $80, it's just like, okay, Fable, I don't know if I want to pay $80 for the Fable. If we're not talking about Game Pass.
Right, I agree.
And then,
but it just kind of gives Game Pass more value. While I agree with what you're saying,
but then it's like Forza. Maybe I can see paying $80 for a Forza. Maybe, but it's still like iffy because you have to really love sports games. But then it's just like, okay, Halo. If they bring that franchise, it's like you're kind of on a downswing. Gears of War Eviction Day or whatever it's called. I don't know. The last 2 Gears weren't that great. So like Microsoft's in a spot where it's just like you do need to go the Game Pass route because they haven't been consistent. But if you look at Bethesda's part of Microsoft, it'd be like, Dishonored 3? Okay. I could see $80 for that. The next Fallout game? Doom? I can see that.
Doom, Fallout, yep. But then you want to do another... I can't think of the game's names right now, but you want to do another Nazi game that they've been doing.
Wolfenstein.
Like is that an $80 or $100 game?
They would probably tell you it is, but you're like, I don't know. Yeah, it's going to be weird. I think PlayStation, of all the 3 companies that would offer $80 games, PlayStation would probably have the best case for like this is worth $80 for a good chunk of their franchises.
With 3 or 4, but here let me spin it on you then. Is the next Sony Ben game worth $80 to $100?
I was going to say, I was going to bring up Ben. I'm just like,
Now the Naughty Dog games, 100%. Insomniac game, 100%.
Sucker Punch.
Sony,
100%. I would say. Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So let's go. Sucker Punch, Santa Monica, Naughty Dog, Insomniac.
Yeah. Everyone else, I would be like,
you get a little nervous.
$70.
Yeah. Is MLB The Show an $80 to $100 game because it's annual? To your point,
and that's going to be the interesting, and it's annual with a shit ton of microtransactions where they really make their money. So it's like, oh, I don't know if I feel.
And ultimately, sure, there's a couple new shiny bells and whistles on it, but it's really you're paying $80 for a roster update.
Yeah. It is going to be a weird holiday, and it's going to be confusing because we will see Grand Theft Auto just destroy sales, and it'll be an expensive game.
So reports, NPD reports, and I know NPD is not a thing anymore, but like video game sales data at the end of 2025 will be up. It will be up. Because it will be up if and when GTA 6 comes out this year. It will be up, but it'll be severely inflated. And then that's what the shareholders and the stockholders are going to look at. Like, well, look, it was fine. We raised prices, and overall software is up. Yeah. And people are going to be like, well, they're
going to be like volumes
remove
down.
Them from the equation.
It's like volumes down.
Remove them from the equation.
Up.
Yeah, but dollars are up. I don't care. Dollars are up.
Yeah.
So the consumers are willing to pay the price. We see that. Like, well, are they? Or did you just get 75 purchasers instead of 100, but the revenue went up $5?
Yeah. I'm going to be curious. I would say I would give PlayStation maybe a month or two, depending on what their inventory looks like in the US before we get their price increase. Whatever that 90 days is up.
I need to find somebody that has a Pro and just doesn't use it.
GameStop might be your best bet. But the GameStop refurbished is bad. You know what? Actually, go to a mom and pop video game store in Michigan and get a Pro.
Yep.
Trade in your old one and get a Pro.
Maybe I'll take my original Switch. So.
Yeah. That might be your best bet. All right, we'll move on from there. We're going to talk a little bit about video game sales. We don't usually do this, but it's been an interesting week. So RPGs are thriving. So Oblivion Remake has passed 4 million players, according to Bethesda. According to Steam charts, the game reached 170,000 peak players, and the game was a bestseller on the PlayStation Store upon release. It is unknown what the splits of those 4 million are PlayStation, Game Pass, and PC players, but it is doing really well, and it seems like it's exceeding what their expectations were for it, which is why they shadow dropped it, because they didn't know exactly what they were going to get. Not to be outdone, a game I was kind of worried about last week because of Oblivion. Expedition 33 has sold over 1 million copies after 3 days of being on sale. And the launch for this number doesn't include Game Pass downloads / streams because it is a game that is on Game Pass. So it has sold 1 million copies, and it has an unknown amount of people that have played it on Game Pass. On PC, that game has hit 121,000 peak players, so it's doing pretty well on PC, specifically Steam. It's available elsewhere on PC, I believe, so it's not a Steam exclusive, so it is doing pretty well across the board. And this I just bring up just because it's, we got a Western RPG remake, and then we got a JRPG from a French studio doing pretty well for the genre. And EA right now is laying off people and crying at no one wanted to play Dragon Age. And it's like, hey, quality leads to sales. And marketing, proper marketing leads to sales. Oblivion was shadow drop, but it was hyped.
Betas.
Yeah.
Yeah, but betas. Expedition had a beta alpha thingy.
It might have been early access at one point, but for the most part, they've been marketing that game so well to streamers and YouTubers. They put the whole soundtrack on YouTube 3 months ago. So they've been building hype through marketing, and in a very smart way for a AA studio, because it's a Sandfall game. It's not a big publisher. So they just went for that market, and that market opened their wallets up for it, and has helped that it was a $50 game as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, we don't know how well it's doing on Game Pass. Oblivion might have overshadowed it most likely during the Game Pass launch, but it is doing pretty well. They got that guaranteed Game Pass money on top of selling 1 million copies of the game.
Yeah, so that studio's just kind of loving it right now. Reviews are good. The Metacritic score was phenomenal for this game, Expedition 33. So it's it's just it's on the list for me. But I mean, I don't know if it's going to be my thing or not. But again, like there's value propositions in there where it is. Hopefully they say something in a couple weeks about how many players have played, and we can start to try to do some backwards math on it. But good for these studios, like especially these new IPs and things.
Yeah,
so.
and it seems like when it comes to Expedition 33, it is doing for JRPGs what like Baldur's Gate 3 did for CRPGs, and it's now made a studio. This studio now has everyone's attention. Of just like what else can you do, because this was phenomenal, and I'll talk a little bit about that about what I'm playing later. But you know, good for that. RPGs are thriving, and it's the middle of May just started, so good for them. One more thing about game sales: Indiana Jones is selling faster on PS5 than it did on PC and Xbox. So according to analysts, the PlayStation version of The Great Circle is selling faster on PlayStation than on PC and Xbox, moving roughly 117,000 plus copies in its first 6 days. I put weeks here, but it's days. The Steam numbers or the Steam sales in that same time frame, Steam was selling about 91,000 copies, so it is like a decent increase in comparing that same window. Currently, it's estimated that it sells roughly like 300,000 copies on Steam, and PlayStation is on pace to pass that number like pretty clear, significantly when it's all said and done. Xbox sales are unknown, but Microsoft did say back in January that 4 million people experienced Indiana Jones, so kind of shows you what Indiana Jones is doing. Dave, the idea that it's selling faster on PlayStation probably isn't surprising, but seeing like an actual number of what that means, what does that do for you?
There's so many contributing factors into this. I would argue that PlayStation's marketing team for this game was better than Xbox's.
Yeah.
And so like that's a little weird. And as well as whether you 6 and 1, half dozen another, chicken before the egg argument, whatever you want to call it. Releasing the game on PC and Xbox in December versus releasing it in April are two completely different things in terms of when people could potentially be buying stuff for themselves versus for others, since this was like December 8th or December 10th, I believe, some early to mid-December, I think. And then the fact of the matter that it came out, and I'm not, at least in the United States, on tax day. Like when anybody's going to have a little bit of extra disposable income in their wallet anyways, typically. But yeah, you can manipulate and move stats any way you want. I think both you and I said that this game is going to sell better on the platform that has more hardware numbers on it. I don't think that the Indiana Jones player, the Indiana Jones fan, and I might get, pitchforked for this, is playing on PC.
Yeah.
Like if somebody is that big of an Indiana Jones fan, that big of one, they're probably a little older than I am, and they're probably not playing on a PC because they don't want to mess with the minutia that is a PC. Or they've always been playing on PC for the last 15 years and they're fine with it, and they just don't like Indiana Jones.
Yeah, and there's also a chance that you did have some people that do, they were interested in it, but they're like, okay, so how do I do Game Pass? So what subscription do I need for this? And then it's just like,
right. I agree.
Fuck it, I'll just buy it on PlayStation. I'll just throw this.
It also comes down to, do they even have an Xbox?
Yeah, no, and
probably not.
And then they, that's when Microsoft is like, hey, we have Xbox Play Anywhere thing, and then they're like, okay, does my TV do it? Oh no, I don't have the model TV that does it. Oh, but I could do it on my PC. But like, what do I got to? Oh, I got to subscribe to something, and then it just leads to,
hey, honey, we got to go buy the kids Christmas gifts. Okay, let's go. And then they move on. And then April comes around and it's put back in front of their face again. And they have the money because they're not buying Christmas gifts.
And then the Game Awards pops up.
You can manipulate it.
And then it's like, oh, it's actually coming to PlayStation. Because I think that's where they announced it.
Oh, wait. It's fine. Yeah.
This isn't too surprising, though I do like seeing some like rough numbers for like, first couple days of launch. How they dug these numbers out, I don't know. Analysts just have access to different things. Just seeing where it's going at, and then the fact that it will probably pass PC numbers. And then if you're Microsoft, you're probably like, say it does pass Steam sales and it gets over 300K and it just kind of stops there. Microsoft is still probably like, actually, this was successful. We had 4 million people play it through Game Pass, and then also we made a couple 100,000 copies sold on PlayStation. And it's probably a win for them because of that.
Agreed.
All right, now let's get to some bummer news real quick. So Respawn Games hit with layoffs and cancellations. So EA has laid off over 100 developers at Respawn, on top of, I think, 600 additional people at EA overall. The Respawn cancellations led to, or the Respawn layoffs led to cancellation of 2 games that were in development, including a Titanfall extraction shooter, and the other one was an unannounced Star Wars game being helmed by the Medal of Honor co-creator. Titanfall was being worked on, but it was going to be an extraction shooter. Sounds like it was pretty early in development, so it was probably an easy cancel for EA at that point. And now Respawn is just going to focus on Apex Legends, which I feel like is waning their ability because it's not going well, and also Star Wars Jedi Survivor because that is a franchise for them. A lot of layoffs this week. You know, there's a couple, right? Polygon had layoffs. Giant Bomb had some firings. A lot of stuff going on. But Respawn, which was EA's golden goose, isn't doing too well.
Do you think, I understand it was early in development, do you think the public reception to Bungie's Marathon made it easier for EA to pull the plug on this?
I don't.
Or do you think that this ball was already rolling before Bungie's reveal?
I think this was already rolling. I feel like, so it sounds like it was an incubation sort of project thing.
Okay.
So I would imagine EA was already like, okay, just to make Respawn happy, like, here's a little budget, throw a couple people on this game. But I imagine we might not have seen this come to light regardless. I feel like Marathon's launch later this year will probably be the thing that will make an EA executive be like, we made the right choice by not doing an extraction shooter. But I feel like it would have been a huge uphill battle just for the game in general.
Marathon's not coming this year, by the way. I don't care what they said. We'll get to that later.
This just sucks. It sounds like Respawn is, one of those studios that EA is like, hey, you're big enough to have incubation projects that either can go somewhere or can go nowhere, and then also, hey, work on our big stuff. But it feels like EA has done what they always do with companies that they acquire, and that's just kind of sucked the life out of them, like once they get like one established franchise. And now they're just turned them into like the Star Wars studio, which is kind of a bummer, despite how good those games are. Hearing an extraction shooter in the Titanfall universe just was really depressing because that just sounds like, especially after playing the extraction shooter Marathon this week, that just sounded like the worst decision to do with Titanfall, especially after Titanfall 2 being one of the greatest shooters of all time. The idea that franchise was just put away for a Battle Royale game, and just, Star Wars is just such a bummer. Dave looks like he's in research mode. I see some windows passing by.
No, I'm doing some. I'm trying to keep track of this Pistons game.
That's Respawn. So hopefully those people will be able to find new work, and we'll see what happens with them.
This is the part that sucks. Like I have a vague memory of like Respawn or EA saying, "Oh, we're not done with the Titanfall world yet. It's okay. Like relax. We're not doing Titanfall 3, but we're not done with the Titanfall universe. We got you." Like, really? Is this what you? Is this your "we got you" game?
Barely.
Like now what happens? Like
the idea that like EA is like, okay, you can. It's the monkey paw. It's the like, hey, you can make a new Titanfall game. But it's got to be an extraction shooter. And that decision was probably made years ago when extraction shooters were big. And like, Dave, when was the last good extraction shooter?
On console?
Yeah.
Or there hasn't been.
Yeah, exactly. Rainbow Six, I guess. Is that extraction? No, that's not. That's a tactical.
No.
Yeah. I was thinking
tactical,
of the Rainbow Six game that was an extraction shooter.
All right, here we go. You want to know the last good extraction shooter on
Rainbow
console?
Six? Vegas?
The Division 2.
The Division 2. There we go.
The Dark Zone of Division 2.
Yeah. So the idea that like, hey, you can make a new Titanfall game, but it has to be this thing because Tarkov is the extraction shooter that everyone likes? I forget. Yes. Just the fact that they're all chasing that, but no one's been able to do it on console is just like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
All right, last bit of news. We have some game release dates. Sucker Punch Ghost of Yotai is releasing October 2nd. And then Borderlands 4, which had a state of play.
Pause. Hang on. Pause. Yeah. Pause, please. Why are we in a world where Sony releases release dates on trailers?
What do you mean?
Like, give it its own little state of play. Give it a 10-minute state of play. Like, why was this on a YouTube video at 7 o'clock in the morning?
Because pre-orders had to go out for collector's editions, and that's how they wanted to do it. Which I agree, it's silly. This should be like we're a month away from what would have been their,
I'll tie this together. But Borderlands 4 gets a 25-minute state of play. But the next Ghost of Tsushima, Ghost of Yoti game, Yotai, I'm sorry, gets a 7 a.m. Eastern time trailer on YouTube with a date at the end.
Yeah, which I had to scroll to see the video because it was just pre-order this, pre-order that, pre-order the 4 versions of the game. Yeah. No, it's weird. Yeah, I don't understand PlayStation marketing anymore.
Make it make sense.
I would love to know the people that I knew on that PR team if they're still there, because I'm just I just want to be are you guys okay? Who's
blink
making
twice if you're in pain.
Who's making you do this? Because this seems so unhappy now. But yeah, Borderlands 4 got a state of play. I didn't watch it. I don't care about Borderlands.
I watched it.
Okay. This is Borderlands?
It is. I will say they're showing off there's still the sirens and the other stuff. The class system is still there, which is fine, which we all expected. The ridiculous over the topness of the guns is there. They didn't really get into the leveling systems or anything. They didn't really talk about that. They showed some stuff. The part that's a little intriguing to me, and I don't you've played some Borderlands,
I
right?
played the hell out of the first one and then fell in love with the second one.
And I'm trying to I don't have any vivid memories, positive or negative, of Borderlands. I'll probably get this game depending on where my friends are with playing and if they're willing to wait for me or play with me or whatnot. It just, and this is just the thing with me lately. It looked a lot brighter to me. It looked like it was going to be a little bit more vivid environments, more stuff during the daytime, less. I guess the best way, less brown and red. Does that make sense? Yeah, I mean,
if you think back to Borderlands 3, all the way up to the pre-sequel, those were PS3 games, and generally the PS3 just ran things darker, just because you had to put a little scale of mud. It
just looked like it had a little bit more pop to it.
Yeah.
To me, and that's something I've been noticing a little bit more. I think it's something I really like about Split Fiction. Split Fiction is very bright most of the time, even when you're in dark areas. It's still got some vividness to it, and that was the part that was a little just a little bit interesting to me. Just to see that full crossplay, across multiple platforms and everything like that, like you're expecting now. It looks more Borderlands. My number one concern about Borderlands 4 since the announcement is that it's going to run on Switch 2. That's my number one concern, because typically you have to develop to the lowest common denominator, and your lowest common denominator is going to be Switch 2, and I think it could potentially hold back high-end stuff for console and for PC.
Yeah. And Switch 2 is a PS4 Pro, basically, so you'd basically be going down there. Right. The big thing that came out of that is the release date was actually moved forward. So it was September 23rd. Now it's September 12th. That immediately forced Take-Two to come out and be we are publishing this game, and we moved the release date up, and it has nothing to do with Grand Theft Auto's eventual release this year. This is just, we had so much confidence in this game, we decided to release it 2 weeks early, which most likely means...
Sure.
Yeah, which probably means... Grand Theft Auto is probably coming out within a month of Borderlands' original release date, which is funny that Sony then is just yep, Sucker Punch, October 2nd, to where Sony's just we don't care what happens with Grand Theft Auto. We're confident in our game. But I imagine PlayStation's big enough that, they can talk to Rockstar and 2K, Take-Two, being hey, we're your biggest platform, person. When is this shit coming out? When can we put our game out?
Oh, they know. They know already.
So this, I would imagine, be a month away from Borderlands 4 and maybe a couple weeks away from Ghost of Yotai as we start to narrow down a date. I think the biggest tell would be like if we get a Call of Duty release date during the Summer Game Fest.
Yeah. So that I'm leaning more towards GTA towards Election Day.
What?
Like November.
Oh, okay. I was like, there's no elections this year, right?
No,
okay.
But Election Day.
Okay, yeah.
Like November 7th or something like that, 4th through the 7th, I think. Because to your point, like, PlayStation didn't release Ghost of Yoti in a vacuum. Like they know, like they know the
they're
window
like, give us a
is.
couple weeks,
So, two different player base, But knowing, like to your point, knowing that whenever like diehard Ghost fans are going to buy it and beat it in a week.
Yeah.
And then the slow burn of Ghost fans will get it for Christmas. And by then, they've already had GTA, and they maybe are waning on playing GTA.
Maybe they'll release a Legends mode like they did for the first one, like 6 months to a year later.
Yep.
So we'll once we find out Call of Duty's release date, then it's probably going to we'll be able to figure out what Grand Theft Auto is doing. And Grand Theft Auto, we probably won't get a release date till August. In terms of like, hey, it's coming out in 2 months.
I'm starting to agree with you as much as I hate it and pains me. But if we see COD like mid-October,
yeah, because they're usually first week of November. So
correct.
Yeah, if they get out of the way of November, then it's like, oh shit, okay, here we go. And we're gonna probably have to play Grand Theft Auto, and I have no interest in Grand Theft Auto anymore.
I know. I'll probably do it.
Yeah, I will too. But we'll see. But yeah, that's all I had for news this week.
All right, so playing and watching for me is, again, very short. Baseball, soft physical, like I played a softball tournament on Saturday. I played my regular stuff on Tuesday, my league ball stuff. I've got 2 other leagues starting, so I'm trying to balance a little bit of this stuff along with some craziness that are going on at work. As well as just, Angela's graduating with her master's this week. My daughter's coming into town, getting ready to do something for my dad for his memorial for his birthday up north at the end of May. There's just a lot of 41, almost 42-year-old adulting going on for me, with, Mother's Day coming up and all these other stuff. So I've been watching some playoff basketball. Haven't really, Angela and I haven't even really gone to the movies or anything like that. So there's just either I'm at home and she's not, or she's at home and I'm not. And there's a lot of just moving parts going on right now that are causing some of this. However, we were able to secure a Switch 2 pre-order. I did get it on Walmart. Yeah, it was Walmart. It took me over an hour to secure one.
Yeah.
So I don't know if this was purposeful, because like Best Buys came out like later, like 12:20, 12:25, 12:30, I feel like. I don't know if what they were doing was purposeful to like maybe hope that I don't know enough about this to hope that you could time the bot out.
It seemed a lot of fail safes broke that night for websites, so it's kind of hard to tell. I think I got mine through Best Buy. I have to check now. I'm like,
we had it in Target's cart. Angela had it in Target cart like 4 times, and it wouldn't let her check out. Now we have like on one of our Walmart credit cards, we have like a $550 pending transaction that's affecting our overall balance, but we haven't been charged for it. And she's like, this is just going to sit here until, and I'm like, she said today, she's like, this is going to sit here for 6 months. I'm like, no, it comes out in 6 weeks.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that was just that was probably you ever look at like a spike chart or like our Discord was popping off at like 11:30 Central Time.
Yeah.
Like
me and someone who I didn't know was in Chicago, and I'm just like, shit, which Best Buy did you
he's
put?
He's a friend of mine. He's a former coworker of mine. Yeah.
I'm just like, wait, did you? I should have picked the Schaumburg Best Buy, or like, shit, I should have picked the Dunedin Best Buy. Yeah.
He works for like a law firm in Chicago now. He went to U of M law school and everything. Like, he's an awesome dude. So he's a big X-bot, but he's an awesome dude. So love you, Josh.
Yeah,
and his name is Josh.
It was one of those things where I didn't give a fuck about the Switch 2. And I was like, I don't care if I don't get it, but I was more annoyed how many times it was in my cart and then the website would break.
It became principle. I'm going to get it now. I'm going to get it.
I ended up getting it through Best Buy, and I hate the way they deliver things.
Okay.
So shit.
Yeah.
Because I used to work at a Best Buy, and they fucking don't care about shipping. And it was one of those things where like Target, I think I got closest to purchasing it, and then it like broke during my transaction, and then it kicked me out. Walmart, the Walmart one was funny because Walmart had a queue you had to get into, and then about like 30 minutes of being in the queue, people were like, "Oh shit, you don't have to be in the queue anymore. You could just buy it outside of the queue." And then
But then you're afraid to leave the queue.
Yeah, so you had to leave the queue, and then you could buy it. And I could have bought the non-Mario Kart one at any point because that one was just available.
Yeah. Because you're not financially stupid.
Exactly. I bought the Mario Kart one.
Yeah.
So it was one of those things where like Walmart's basically broke down to where like if you were still in the queue like a good boy, you were screwed. And then Best Buy was just late to the party and was chaotic.
I think I got mine through the queue though, through Walmart though.
That's funny though, because at a certain point they were just like, get out of the queue.
I swear I did because it was the only time I really liked it. Like it was one of the first nights I really liked Blue Sky, like the social media platform, because I don't have a bunch of follow stuff on there right now, like because I'm still like figuring that out. So it's
just Wario.
Small window of like like a couple other people, but especially at that time of night, it was just Wario.
Yeah. So I ended up getting mine, and it was funny. It was the same way my PS5 pre-order went during COVID, I forget exactly what. The PS5 was before COVID, it was during COVID. It was one of those things where I had already given up, and I'm just like, oh, fuck it. I'm just going to go to bed because it was like 12:30. It's been an hour and a half of trying to pre-order this thing. And then like, as I'm going upstairs to go to bed and brush my teeth, I just go to the Best Buy carpet and it's like, oh, you're in line now. You're good to go. You've made it to the end of the queue. Do you want the console? And then I was like, I guess I'm fucking buying it. And I'm glad I did, because after seeing Microsoft's price increase, the Switch 2 is going to increase as soon as the release date's finished and people get their shit the first week. Like,
it's FOMO your wallet, bro.
No, 100%. And then when the price does increase in like July, I'm going to be like, fucking nailed it.
Never going back down. Never going back down.
Even if everything goes away and they can get a crazy profit on their system, they're not going to. Because then they're going to be like, that would be unfair to the people that did pay this high price. But hey, maybe we'll get a free game out of it. Maybe there'll be like the 3DS, like, we're sorry bundle. So I did get my Switch too. Did you do anything else?
No, I mean, I hit well in real life softball. Like, I'm as for 41. I mean, I put up 230-foot shot over the fence.
Oh, okay, good for you. Good for you.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll just go.
I feel like I need Tommy John surgery now, but
tis the season. So I played Rivals, but whatever. I played Expedition 33. So that is the JRPG by French studio. So turn-based action game. Turn-based has never been my jam, but this is a really good turn-based game. They have a really nice parry system. They have a good dodge system. And there's just a style to this game that like leads to one of the best like opening scenes in a video game that I've played in a really long time, because just instantly you're just taken to this world of this crazy distorted world where basically like there's someone on an island that writes a number. Anyone on that number anyone who's the same age as that number at the end of the year will die. And they send an expedition team every year to try and stop that person or monster or whatever it is, and do their best so they can save their people. They're down to age 33, so they've been doing this for about 65 years, I believe is what they said, of just having their generations die at that age. And just instantly when you're in this world, it's got an amazing soundtrack. The cutscenes look great. There's just a general style, aesthetic, from the character designs to like the world design, that this kind of like grabs you and doesn't want to let you go. And I haven't finished the game, but it is only 30 hours, which is great to hear for a RPG, especially when you
only 30 hours.
When you hear about like, especially like this is modeled after like JRPGs, and you hear about some of those like Phantasmo. I forget what that one game is called that was really good. But it's like 100-hour game, and then like the Persona games are 100-hour games. So this being like a 30-hour game that's $50. This game is really good. This is going to probably be on my short list of like game of the year, unless the ending falls apart. But I don't really see that coming. But beautiful character design, fantastic soundtrack. This is clicking everything that I wanted to click. The only thing I don't have is time to like dive into it.
Would I like this game?
You used to play turn-based stuff during the PS1 era. I
played Sea of Stars. I really enjoyed Sea of Stars.
Yeah, so like I feel like this would be a good game for you to play and Angela to watch. Because I feel like the characters, the writing is entertaining enough for someone else to sit there and watch.
Yeah, she's watched me play like an entire Tales of Symphonia game before.
Yeah, so I feel like this actually would be, especially like if you don't really want to deal with like the parrying and like the dodge stuff, drop it down to easy, put it in story mode, and just enjoy the ride.
Yeah.
And at $50, 30 hours, it's a manageable game. So I actually do recommend this for like, this is like Dave approved in terms of like, hey, you're not getting into...
And for the record, if you haven't listened recently, there's some games that Michael's like, Dave, no.
Yeah.
No.
Dave wanted to get Baldur's Gate 3, and I'm like, Dave, as soon as you got to fuck the bear, you're pieced out. So yeah, no, I actually think you would be into this, and I think it's also a good game to just have someone watch as well.
Okay. It's on Game Pass.
Yeah, it's on Game Pass, so it's like it doesn't hurt to try. I bought it on PlayStation just because I wanted to play it on PlayStation.
Awesome.
So the next thing that I got is Marathon. I got into the alpha. Who knew the person who doesn't like Bungie games would get into the alpha? Yeah.
I did not, but it also doesn't sound like I missed much.
No, so yeah, this is Bungie's extraction shooter. Fuck, Dave, just ask me questions, because like I just like...
All right, So I guess first off, how does the shooting feel?
All right, so shooting feels good. The sensitivity is a little slow. Like I feel like it is a little slower than Destiny. You can tweak the sensitivity and get it a little snappier, but it is slower moving than I would say usual Bungie games are. But still feels good.
How do you feel about time to kill?
Time to kill, so they do a good job of throwing NPC enemies at you pretty frequently. Like if you're idle for too long, you'll get like enemies incoming announcement, so you can at least get like some action. The time to run into other players, that's where it's a little bit of a drag. I've been playing with my team on Phil, because I've been playing solo, because I don't know a lot of people that got into the alpha. I've been having to strangers get into my squad. So I'm at least interacting with them, pinning stuff, trying to like grab as many items as possible. But the amount of action isn't really there. So yeah, a little slow, not a lot of action. It's not that exciting.
I hear the enemy AI is a little overtuned.
Some of the bigger ones are, like they have different like character classes that the enemies have. Yeah. Some of them aren't too bad. When you do run into like a group of them of like 5 or 6, you can end up dead really fast. But they're not the smartest AI. So like you turn the corner and go far enough away, you can just go around them and then just kill them. Like they're not the smartest like enemies, but they are.
Is this game ready to launch in 4 months for $40?
Fuck no. So this game, this game is like, again, the shooting feels good because it's Bungie. They need to do some things to tweak it here and there, but it was fucking boring. And like I don't
keep in mind, folks, Michael's like if really thoroughly enjoys Marvel Rivals. Really enjoyed the finals for 3-4 months. I feel like he was playing the finals for a long time. Avid Overwatch player, tries to be a good Overwatch 2 player, but it's kind of lost its thing. But like this 8-year window of this competitive esport kind of shooting thing, like this is Michael's wheelhouse, not mine, from the competitive standpoint. But what I'm seeing, what I saw from the Marathon reveal, what I've seen from a couple of live streams, what I've seen from just a little bit of chatter from what I'm hearing, which is a little bit of chatter from my Destiny fans, are like, no, I'm tapping out.
Yeah. And so like the world design is interesting. It's a cool looking world, but I would say when you're in the map, there's barely any music. There's maybe some music here and there. but it's very quiet.
Does Rivals in the finals have music?
Yeah, there's background noise and stuff like that.
Okay. I just know a lot of people like to hear the things
No,
that are happening.
and like you mostly don't hear background music and stuff like that in like Rivals and some of those things, but you hear something.
Yeah, I got you. Ambient noise.
Yeah. Too many times, especially when you enter a building in Marathon, you don't hear shit. And it's just really quiet, and you're just... All you're doing... So this is an extraction game where you're just extracting items. And these items are just generic items that just have a monetary value on them that you just take back to your vault, sell automatically. So then you can buy more gear and stuff like that.
But you could lose that gear if you die.
Yes, and I did die just to see what would happen. And you legit, anything that is on you, you will lose. So early on, I got into a firefight, and I'm just like, actually, I want to see what happens. So I just kind of stood in front of someone and then had them kill me. The next game I loaded up, I realized I didn't have anything in my vault, because you have like a vault you can store stuff, if it's good. I only had a pistol in the vault. So then I'm like, fuck. And I didn't have ammo for it. So it was just like, oh shit. The next game I loaded into, I have a pistol, no ammo. I need to go run and start scavenging right away and hope I find a gun, find something. Luckily I was able to find something relatively quickly, but if you have something that is a very prized possession of you, like this is my favorite gun to go do stuff, and you lose it, I can see that being a fucking just demoralizing situation for a game that you possibly spent like $40, $50 on, however much it's going to cost, to where it's going to feel like a pain, and then you're going to possibly be hoarding some of your favorite weapons for no reason, depending on how many different weapons there are in the game, which, as Dave has told me over the years, Bungie's really good at making like cool weapons that you want to keep. So hopefully there is a shit ton of weapons that will both make you attached to them, but also not too attached, because there's always going to be something better out there that you can find. I would say I'm a little disappointed because all you're doing is extracting random objects. Like there was just objects that were like, environmental report, 300 currencies. So I take it back and I'm like, can I read it? Can I do something? Is there going to be any sort of like story about it? Nope, just auto sold it as soon as I extracted it out of the game. So I'm just collecting random shit that has no, like, it'll have a little picture for it, and then it'll have a little item name for it. But the only thing I should give a shit about is just the monetary value behind it. So at that point, I should just be picking up dollars at this point. It shouldn't matter what I'm picking up.
Well, no, you can't do that because that's fair games.
Yeah, probably, yeah. And then, you have your backpack space. You can find more backpack space, upgrade your backpack by buying a new backpack. So there's a lot of stuff that they could microtransaction to hell if they want to. But it's one of those annoying things where you have a bunch of little squares, for each item. But some items are bigger squares than others. So I pick up this one gun and I took up 8 inventory slots. And it's like, shit, so I can't really extract anything anymore. Let me, I guess, go to the extraction point, even though I've only been in this game for like 3 minutes, and extract. And hopefully my teammates want to extract too, because I think we all have to extract at the same time. So I can't just bail on my team. We all need to basically agree okay, we're going to extract even though we were in this game for 3 minutes. So you can't play it solo, but if your goal is I want the most money, I want the best stuff, you're going to have to work with 2 other people and just agree, hey, we got the good shit, let's go, let's get out of here before someone kills us before we get into a firefight. I don't know, if there's actually fun in there, especially to convince, 2 other people to, buy the game with you, to be like, hey, let's go on some extraction runs. I will say, so, I played the stealth character a lot, and you can solo queue, and it is kind of fun being the person who can stealth themselves and then kind of just running around the map by yourself. You get fucked if you do run into a team of 3 people, but you can navigate around the NPCs pretty well. And there is a little bit of fun of going through vents, sneaking around people, just trying to get as much stuff as you want and then bail out as soon as possible. So there is some fun in solo play despite what people have said, but I just don't. I believe they said there's going to be it's just this one map, I want to say, with another map coming. With
the alpha, I think they said 3 at launch.
3 at launch, okay.
3 at launch and a 4th one coming quickly?
Quickly, okay. So the map that we played, there's nothing special with it.
I could be wrong about the 4th one.
Yeah. I don't think 4 maps or 3 maps is good enough. I don't think 1 game mode is good enough. They're going to need more game modes than just this, because I feel like this game mode's kind of boring, especially because I'm just kind of collecting shit that doesn't matter. Unless they put stuff in there that does matter. I feel like it's the Destiny 1 problem where like, hey, there's cool lore here. It's on the website. Like I feel like that in this alpha of just like, I wish there was more here for me. There are
versus trying to somehow get that stuff in the game and hook you to where you want to like find out more. And the only way to find out more is to purchase the game and play it at launch. You can't find anything in the alpha.
Yeah, like you do get contracts. You sign with a company and they give you contracts for like objectives you need to fulfill. You get some lore through that stuff. That's okay. I will say the menus, I like their aesthetic. I like the way the menus look in the game. But they also just are very busy. And I feel like most of the time when I was playing, I was looking at fucking menus. Like when I'm like live in the game.
Yeah, they'll probably clean that up. Like their Bungie's UI team is pretty solid, and I think that they were probably like actively watching people. Because I think they were allowed to stream it, probably actively watching people and how they interact with the menus. And
and I think it looks nice, but you are spending. Like you kill someone, they drop a backpack, you go into their backpack, which opens up the menu, and then you start moving stuff in that, and then moving stuff out of your menu.
That's something that actually irritates me about Fortnite. When I do play it, is like sometimes I feel like, and when you're in the menus, you can get killed.
But Fortnite is fucking snappier with the menus than what this is in Marathon.
If you know what you're doing.
But if you're like, oh, I want to learn about the lore and stuff like that, and you're like trying to like read like the item that you have, it's just really slow. To where like when I was in firefights and I saw a backpack that was kind of big, I would like quickly just like click, fill up my inventory, and then I would try and find a place to hide and be like, okay, did I pick up anything good? Shit, no, I picked up a bunch of dollar items. Cool. And then throw them away and then look for another backpack. The 3 classes that they have, it's okay. There's nothing special. This game basically is just like, hey, we have a cool aesthetic. We have cool menu music and character design, but there's like nothing else there. This doesn't even feel like a Bungie game because it just doesn't feel fully cooked, and I expect something fully cooked. I know this is an alpha, but the game's coming out in 3 months, so this isn't like your traditional alpha. This is a demo alpha.
It was supposed to come out the same day Borderlands. I don't think it's coming. Like if if Sony knows GTA is coming, and then now you're gonna get the alpha data, like they're gonna like look at streamers and content and stuff like that. I think if Sony has decent control over this Bungie board. You got this has February 2026 written all over it.
This feels like one of those things where like PlayStation has to go to Bungie and they're like, how much time do you need?
Well, no, but this is also Bungie's MO. They announce a game. They announce an alpha. You play the alpha. There's some good from it. There's some bad from it. They announce a release date. You play the alpha, and then they push. Yeah. And they put Destiny 1 was 3 years behind schedule, 4 years behind schedule. Like I don't, something to that extent of part of their plan or something like that. So this is, I'll put the flag in the ground. Marathon will not launch on the initial date. It will be delayed, and it will be delayed 90 plus days.
I would imagine like if you're PlayStation, you're like, okay, people are saying there's not enough modes. How long do you need for you guys to add the team deathmatch mode that I know you're fucking building? Because of course you are. Because you'd be crazy to sit a launcher this one mode.
Or like a capture the flag mode or something.
Or like, hey, how long do you need for that 4th map? Because we can't launch with this 3 maps. 5 character classes, I want to say, is what they're going to do. Like there's 3 in the alpha and there's 2 more coming. So I would imagine the discussion is like, how fast can we have the 4th map? And also throw us capture the flag, throw us team deathmatch, throw us a battle royale mode, something, because like at a premium priced game, whatever that means now that Microsoft is charging $80 for their games, who knows if it still would be a $40 game at this point for PlayStation. I don't know what this game is or what success it would have for them. And I don't know. This was like, I wasn't super excited for this, but I was more optimistic than I usually am for some of these sort of games. And it just didn't hit at all.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah. Sarah was watching me play, and she's like, "Are you even having fun?" And I'm like, "No, I don't think so." Because it was just super quiet. It was just me going in a backpack, taking out random things and then moving. So yeah, I don't know. It was just a pain to try and get through. But yeah, that was Marathon, and that's pretty much all I played. It was just Marathon, and it was Expedition 33, and a little bit of Marvel Rivals, but not too much. It was also weird going from Marvel Rivals to Marathon back and forth. Eventually, I just had to put one of them down. But that's it for me.
All right. So real quick, we'll do this one question that we have here for. I think Stefan sent this in. Go ahead and read this one.
So, would you ever have a third chair on the podcast, even if it's only every now and then? I would love to join you guys.
What do you think,
Dave?
I'm not opposed to it. Stefan's been part of previous communities and this community for as long as I can remember. So there's, however, the most immediate challenge that pops into my head is time zone.
Yeah,
because I think it's like, so we're this is 10:30 Eastern time on a Thursday night that we're recording. I think it's like 3 a.m. in Europe. So that would, but it's not out of the question. I'm sure we'd have to figure out what kind of, I think he works from home or he does have a remote job. So I'm sure hopefully his audio equipment is decent. That's always a factor. Although Discord, it alleviates a lot of that because it functions better than any other way that I was taught. So there's not an opposition to that as well, but I'm sure there's going to be a situation. Michael's missed, a week, or I've missed a week, and maybe sometimes we want to record, and we could always kind of figure that out. So yeah, I'm not genuinely opposed to it.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to having a third chair from time to time. It's been a while since we've had Laneford on the show. I've been messaging him on Blue Sky. He lives at Blue Sky now. So I wouldn't mind having a third chair from time to time. It wouldn't be the worst thing. It just would come down to scheduling. Even me and Dave, we're not the best at schedules lately. So just trying to plan around a third person would be a little difficult. But it's definitely doable for us. But yeah, something we're definitely open to. Maybe when Dave's sports schedule calms down by the end of the summer, it would probably make more sense. And then when.
Hey man, I'm trying to live my best life here.
Hey man, yeah, keep running, keep doing what you got to do, Dave. Keep hitting the dingers. Is do people say so? There?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. I know it's something your White Sox don't do.
No, God, no. Yeah, we don't we don't hit the ball. We're afraid of it.
Are you buying? Here, I got another question for you. Are you buying that new Chicago White Sox Bulls inspired jersey?
Am I crazy? But I think it's ugly as shit. Yeah,
really?
I like the
hat. So.
I don't know, maybe because I hate Jerry Reinsdorf so damn much. When I see it, I'm like, did they just have extra material left over from?
But you like the black and red Bulls look though, right? Not necessarily on the White Sox jersey, but you're like
I like the
wear
Bulls.
Like a Bulls shirt,
yeah,
right?
yeah, and just seeing them together, it just doesn't do anything for me. Even though
it looks like just the basketball. It looks like the basketball jersey in a baseball form.
Yeah, but it's just mashed together things, and it doesn't do anything for me. But also, I don't want to support the White Sox right now. They do have some new minority owners who are slowly eating bigger percentage. Maybe when those two take over, I would be more likely to be like, I will give you money. Please don't move us to Memphis. But
I would say that there's the White Sox City Connect stuff, like the South Side jerseys they did, the black and white pinstripe South Side jerseys.
I have the hat somewhere in my closet.
Yeah. The Chicago, I kind of like the Chicago one. That's like my era for Jordan. I know it's yours. I mean, not necessarily as much you because it was you, but you were younger than when Jordan was ripping through people. I was a teenager and you were preteen.
Yeah. I was 9 when he won the last title. So yeah.
The last title. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Won in 98. I was 9.
So yeah, there's that factor for me of that's why you see so many people 10 or 15 years older than me that are Steelers fans because the Steelers were ripping through the NFL. That's why there's so many people my age that are Cowboys fans because when they were 12, 13, 14 years old, Dallas was on a rip.
Say one more time.
I don't know what else to call it. A run, a rip, a run. They were, so like that's where that inherent fandom comes
kind of like why I like
so,
the Pistons.
That's the image.
When I was a teenager, like the Ben Wallace, Rip Hamilton era of the Pistons were going around, and I like that.
Look at that. See, look at you.
Yeah. Pull that up.
But yeah, that's just, it has an impact on you, and like that black and red pinstripe block lettering for Chicago is sentimental to me.
Oh, it's definitely cool. It just I just couldn't see myself, To be fair, the only White Sox jersey I still have right now is a Scott Podsednik World Series jersey, which I never wear.
I also like the Wrigleyville. I like the Wrigleyville jerseys too, like for like those the Cubs, like the some of the stuff the Cubs have been doing. But at its core, I'm a Tigers fan, so like sometimes I have a hard time of like something has to look really really cool and really really appealing to me for me to wear it. Like I don't even know why. Like inherently, I just really like the Colorado Rockies logo.
No, too. Like I like the Denver Nuggets
black,
logo, the old one, the one with the Rainbow Mountain thing.
Yeah,
I can't wear it though. Because it's just like, like I have a D Wade Miami Vice Heat jersey because I bought it in like high school, but like I'm just like I'm not gonna ever wear it. I have a LeBron Cleveland jersey from his like right here.
I mean I have a Griffey jersey hanging behind me.
But
here.
he's the OG, like that. That's Griffey for our generation was a god. So it's like he's okay. You can have that. Which one is it? I'm seeing Green Vision. Is it Mariners?
It's gray. It's the Mariners. It's the gray and navy and teal. So I think my son bought it for me for my birthday or Father's Day a couple years ago.
I should have got a Griffey Sox
wear.
jersey just for the 6 months he was a White Sox.
Oh yeah. I have Griffey cleats now. Like that's what I actually play softball in, some Griffey cleats. So some retro Griffey cleats. So all right, that is our show for this week. So you can follow us on social media at Digital Days Pod. You can follow Michael at The First MJC. You can follow myself at Good Dave Hunt. Facebook group, Discord server are all linked in the show notes. Patreon is linked in the show notes as well. I hope everyone has a fantastic week, and we will talk to you guys later. Keep moving forward.
Don't be a dick. See ya.